Okay, welcome to another episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And today we've got two great guests that are forming a new club in the Midlands, which is what we're all about. We've got James Husbands and also Dave Moll. Okay, both connected to a new club. Do you want to kind of just give us a little bit of a rundown on what the club is called, kind of where you're based, and then we'll get into how it was formed later on.
Yeah, so we're from a club called Lincolnshire Lions, based out of Lincoln, and it's going well at the minute, isn't it?
It is. We've had two training sessions already this year, so we've got a start on it.
Yeah,
We've had good numbers, not all at the same time, but a lot of different people. So
A lot of different abilities as well, haven't we?
yeah.
great. So, and just specifically, which town you're in Lincoln, are you? And
Yeah.
Is there a club that you play out of there?
So we play out of Ruston Sports and Social Club in Lincoln.
Okay. And is this the first rugby league team club in Lincoln that you know of?
It's not the first. There
Right.
was a team. Oh, when was it?
Back in there.
Back in there.
No, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that called Lincoln City Knights,
All right.
who played in the Old Summer Conference.
Yeah.
We played teams such as Derby, I think, were in our league. Scunthorpe had a team then, but we also played a lot of teams from South Yorkshire, which was a bit of an eye-opener for the rugby union lads from Lincoln. Yeah, but unfortunately that folded as personalities moved away, etc.
So this year has been quite unique in that we've had like the formation of 3 clubs, is it now, Karl?
Yeah, the third club this is.
Yeah, so there's a third club this year. You know, we've spoke to a load of people that have been involved in Midlands rugby leagues for years, and they were saying, you know, they can't remember when there was 2 new clubs, let alone 3. What was it that sparked the Lincolnshire Lions then?
I think for me personally, I wanted to play rugby league again, not rugby union. And obviously in the Midlands, as you know, it's quite hard to find a rugby league team. And I think going and playing for Sherwood last year, it made me realise that what Adam's done down there is great, and it can be done elsewhere as well. It can't just be done in Nottinghamshire. So I thought, why not try it?
Yeah.
Is this your first venture into setting a club up, and has it been a bit of an eye opener?
Yeah,
everything
it's
that
a lot more admin than I expected it to be. And obviously having a baby last year as well, that hadn't helped. Obviously,
The perfect timing.
yeah.
It's not just rocking up with a set of cones and balls at a field, is it?
No.
And doing some training and
No.
yeah, just elaborate then, if you will, on what you've had to go through.
It's even little things like applying to be in leagues, and off the top of my head, like, you put me on the spot a bit to think about it, but there is so much to it that you don't expect, and I think finding time to do it alongside everything else you've got going on in your life, just because you want to play rugby.
Yeah.
But I have had support doing it as well. It's not just myself who set the club up. Obviously, Dave's been taking training. Tommy Jarvis, he helped me set the club up. It was kind of mine and his idea initially. I think we were just on the piss once after a rugby game, and he was like, why don't we just try a rugby league club?
Well, there's 2 ways that great ideas are formed. One is in a WhatsApp group, and the other one is on the piss. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the 2.
How did we come up with this then?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, neither of them, I don't think.
Well, no, it's not a good idea. Brilliant. Okay, so when you sort of think about where you're getting your players from, like where they're coming from, are they predominantly sort of university lads, or?
We've got a lot of union boys at the minute. So
Yeah.
I play for a club called North Highcombe Rugby, and a lot of the lads started from there. We actually played last year under that name, but this year we decided with Lincolnshire Lions so that we could kind of move away from the union club name to stop other clubs thinking, well, I don't want to play for Highcombe.
Yeah.
So that's why I went for Lincolnshire. So it's got that pull to it. It sounds a bit more like a few people have said, "Oh, is it a rep team?" And it's,
yeah.
like, it's just got a bit more about it playing for Lincolnshire Lions, I think, personally.
And what about the Lions term? Because I'm often, I saw like some crazy like Kingsley Pelicans or so. I was like, who the fuck comes up with the game Pelicans?
We had a pigeons, didn't we?
Pigeons, that's what it was.
One of he didn't come on, but he gave me one of the lads. He gave me his rundown at clubs he'd played for, and it was some pigeons. I thought it's a pretty random team name, that is. I don't know where that's come from.
Like the picture it conjures up is, so where did the Lions come? I mean, it's a great name, but where did it come from? Or was it just literally it married up with the Lincolnshire?
Yeah, obviously it marries up nicely with the Lincolnshire, but I don't know, just good logo, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. It ticks all
He
the
won't
boxes.
let me have Lincolnshire Rhinos.
Oh, is that what you wanted? So I take it you're a Rhinos fan. Moll?
Yeah.
And for yourself, York fan here?
York Knights, yeah.
Because you're both from up north.
Do you notice his little nod then? Bradford fan over the side.
Have it.
York are playing some great rugby,
They
aren't they?
battered Bradford earlier on in season.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
You say that, they just got hammered by Fev at the weekend. So.
Well, everyone's going to get hammered by Fed, aren't they?
I won't tell him I used to play for Keighley as well.
Oh,
Had to get that one in there, didn't you, Dave?
don't take any biscuits off him. Oh, this is great. So you said you've had good numbers. Can you just sort of quantify that? What we're talking in your first couple of sessions?
To be honest, I've had at least 15 every session, but the majority of them have been different people.
Oh,
so
right.
not the same 15.
Yeah.
So once they all start coming together, because the unions are still training and playing, the cups haven't finished yet, so we expect a few more.
A few more when that comes, yeah.
I know when we had the last team in Lincoln, we drew the players from Market Raise and Rugby Union come, Lincoln. I think we had some from Sleaford come and play. So there is players out there to draw in. And I've never met a Rugby Union player who's played Rugby League and said they haven't enjoyed it.
No.
Yeah, we've said that every week. That's the idea of this podcast, really, is just getting the numbers to train and get people playing for teams wherever it may be. And because once they fall in love with the game, it's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're in your training, because you've had a lot of new players, sort of predominantly Rugby Union players, have you had to focus your training sessions right on the basics?
Well, we were talking about this on the car on the way down.
Yeah.
That we've even got some lads who had never played rugby before.
Oh, really?
But
Not just
come.
Yeah.
Who were the round ball players.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've actually come and they've started training. So we're discussing this. Once I get more people, because I've got another couple of lads help coaching as well.
Yeah.
We'll take them off to one side for a bit and we can go through the basics with them. But my philosophy is, no matter who you are, you've got to get the basics right to start with.
Yeah.
Being a season, start from the basics before you can walk.
Yeah. So, obviously, it goes without saying, every club needs players. What else is missing in your kind of repertoire? You know, if people, you might have someone from Lincolnshire perhaps watch this and they might go, I could perhaps do that. What other things are you missing from your team?
I think it's hard to say at the minute because we have actually got a few volunteers who've happily helped us out. Obviously, you can never have enough volunteers.
Yeah.
But we have got a good team like working away in the background. And I think for myself and Tommy at the start, we tried to do too much on our own and then realised, hang on a minute, it's not just us that want this club. Like, let's ask some people.
Yeah.
And we've got like a good little group now, a committee, let's call it. And yeah, it's going well.
So just looking forward sort of 12 months.
Yeah.
How would you know that, you know what, your first 12 months has been a success?
Well, I always judge it on if I'm not ringing round to get players to play.
Yeah.
If I have to select a team, I know
You're doing something right.
we're doing something right. If you're ringing round the night before the game, you're not quite there. So if you get to that stage where you're selecting a team, then you can probably look forward to maybe taking the next step into a more regular league type thing.
Yeah. And then just sort of looking, you know, obviously we understand that you're both Northerners and probably brought up on Rugby League, but, you know, what was your journey into Rugby League and, you know, and then how have you ended up in Lincoln?
Well, I started off obviously born in Leeds, moved to a village called Riglington, played for the juniors there. First coach was Maurice Bamford.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
So
I was coached by Maurice Bamford.
Yeah, so.
Do you know how many teams he's played for? every time somebody name drops somebody, yeah, he coached me, played with him, or
He was at Dewsbury then, and he brought a couple of lads from Dewsbury down and they started the junior team. But then when I left there, I went to West Bowling, as I said.
yeah.
But then I got picked up from there, went off to play for Keighley, where I was lucky enough to get selected to play for Great Britain under 24s.
Oh wow.
And I fell out a bit with Keighley, and that's when I joined the Air Force.
All right.
But while in the Air Force, Halifax come, and I played for Halifax on loan for a bit, and Wakefield on loan for a bit as well. Yeah.
All right, you've been around a bit.
Yeah.
Almost as much as me.
Yeah, and I did my first coaching course in the early 80s, and obviously Maurice Bamford took that as well.
Oh, right.
Down at Crystal Palace in London.
Yeah. And then sort of, I mean, you know, I've played the RAF a couple of times. It's getting awkward, isn't it?
I've played the RAF, so
right.
yeah, we'll go with that one.
So did you obviously, you know, played quite a bit in the RAF and...
Well, unfortunately, in my time in Gibraltar, I had a bad break on my leg, so that
stopped you playing, did it?
Well, it stopped me playing for about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But I did play for the RAF.
Yeah.
But I ended up coaching. So I've been doing coaching for the RAF since 94, 95.
All right. Yeah.
So and
Early days of rugby league in the RAF, I would have thought.
Yeah, we were still paying a zone where they weren't recognised.
Yeah.
And is that playing for the RAF as in one of the local? I don't know how you call it. One of the local detachments, or is it like the full RAF?
Full RAF team, yeah.
Right. So you must have had some decent players coming through the RAF.
There has been a few decent players coming through. A lot of Barler internationals have played for the Air Force. A couple of ex-pros still played.
And out of the forces, which team is usually the best?
RAF.
Do you know that it's?
Have you got a different answer, Craig?
No, do you know it's one of the most open competitions. Is at the beginning of every inter-services.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Nobody could put their hand on that and say who's going to win it.
Yeah.
Because it's that close and that open. They're all usually very close games.
Yeah. And what about you, Hubbo?
So I was born in York. Started junior rugby about 9 or 10, playing for a team called New Hampshire All Blacks. Played there till I was 18. Well, in fact, no, I was 17. Joined the RAF, and I was saying to Karl the other day, I remember playing my first RAF game. Played for the academy, and my dad had to sign a waiver to say that I was all right to play because I was still only 17. And then, sort of like, played for the academy for the RAF for 3 years. Had a bit of a falling out with it because one of the lads passed away, unfortunately, and it's kind of scared me a bit, to be honest. Cause
on the pitch?
Yeah, playing against the army.
I think I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, and basically with that, I had a little girl, and I thought, rugby's not everything.
Yeah.
And then about probably like a year or two ago, I thought, what am I doing? Like, I should be playing rugby. And I got back into my rugby now. And I've always played academy for the RAF up until like the last 2 seasons. I think I'm sort of like fringing on the first team now. And I'm hoping to go on and push that for inter-services this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it back to the game because, you know, I don't suppose there's anything worse. Well, you don't know, you don't realise until you kind of get injured and you lose it, like what you're missing out on, you know what I mean? And then imagine getting to, well, like me, you know, mid-40s, and I'm like, I missed a few years with different operations and what have you, and I do kick myself sometimes. So it's good you got back to the game.
It's getting your confidence back as well, isn't it? Getting back into it, like I'm sort of still badgering you. You've got to go around again another season. It takes a while, doesn't it? To I think once you get back in that environment though with the players, whether your body's still up to it or not, you want to be involved in it, don't you?
Yeah, you worry about it on a Sunday instead of worrying about it on a Saturday morning.
Yeah. So I can see why now you've gone down that line and you wanting to start a club up again and you want to get back involved with it because there's nothing better, is there, than the camaraderie with your teammates on a Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon, whenever it may be.
Oh no, I like to get involved in training, but then I regret it for a week.
No, you don't recover, do you?
No.
And what was one of the drivers, or what was the drivers to kind of get into the coaching then? Was it just a natural progression for you, or?
The initial one was a friend of mine, in fairness, when we were at Keighley, Driglington was struggling for coaches, so that's why we did our coaching badges.
Right.
So we could coach Driglington Open Age, because we both lived in Driglington.
Yeah.
Played for Keighley. So that's the initial driver for it. Obviously, when I was in the Air Force, broke my leg, I did my coaching course again.
Yeah.
So I could be involved in coaching with the RAF, and I've done it ever since. Again, and he said it's still been part of that team, that mateship, as you want to call it. You're in there with the lads.
Yeah. Did you ever do the cougar crawl?
No. I never.
Where did that come from?
I never played for the Cougars.
Oh, right,
No,
right.
no,
Okay.
yeah,
So
so-
Pre-Cougar.
Pre-Cougar, yeah.
What's the Cougar crawl?
it's like
I think you should show us.
It's right. When I used to play against any Keith,
Can you show us the cast caterpillar as well?
when I used to play against any Keithley team at junior level, they used to do if they beat
the
us.
juniors did this.
Yeah, which they beat us quite often because they
Yeah.
won't go into that. They used to do this like fucking thing where they were all going on their hands and knees and they'd all hold each other's legs and do this fucking crawl floor. Honestly,
No.
and then they got to the end of it and they used to roll over and do this thing with it, like kick the legs and hands up in air, and all the junior teams did it if they won. They're the cougar crawl.
I've never heard of that before.
No, I've never heard of that. Have you heard of that?
However, just give me an idea for training.
Yeah.
I've never seen a professional team do it yet. Anyway,
It's amazing, isn't it? What kind of stuff goes on? But great. And obviously, you brought a shirt with us. Is there a story behind this shirt that you
No,
brought?
that's remembrance shirt.
All right. Yeah.
That I've had for quite a while now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, Jehovah wanted a nice shirt bringing down, so I said, I've got this one.
Yeah. It's a nice shirt. It's a great shirt.
I know you said to me your team strip isn't made yet. Have you got it fully sponsored up? Have you managed to get local?
We managed to get a grant off the Rugby League World Cup and got a full kit, 1 to 18.
And what's your team colours?
It's a bit like the Bulldogs. It's like a white with blue.
Blue and
I'll
white.
show you it after.
Canterbury Bulldogs sort
Yeah,
of style.
it's top secret. Though, I'll show you.
Oh, is it?
It's nice.
Oh, nice.
We like an exclusive.
When's the unveiling then?
Good
It's
question.
gonna be like-
Got to come, I suppose,
Is
isn't
it
it?
going to be a Lincoln Town Hall or something like that?
Probably, yeah. Get Dave to squeeze into a small or something. It'd be funny.
So what else have you had to do then? Once you started the club, who did you have to get involved? And what sort of areas did you identify pretty quickly that you needed to basically get help with, to get it running?
So the RFL, obviously, like I say, we started last year really.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lincolnshire Lions started this year, but we actually dipped our toe in a bit last year. But you actually have to have certain individuals within a club to be like, I can't think of the word of it, but you have to have them people. So like a coach, for example.
Certified sort of thing.
Yeah, and
Like
welfare officers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So point them out to me if there's somebody listening who's thinking of setting a club up.
Yeah.
What do you need in place to get it up and running?
So you need a coach,
Yeah.
a welfare officer, first aider at every home game, and I think there's another one. I think it might be a treasurer or something like that. I can't remember what the other one was. But for me as well, I think it's quite important to have a game day manager as well.
Yeah.
Because I think what I found is a lot of it. I kind of, for last year especially, found myself doing everything.
Yeah.
And it does become a lot quicker than you realise. But it is really important, just even if it's the players for a season, and then once you've got a bit of momentum, start looking at people who come to every game maybe and say like, why don't you have a go at volunteering, get involved a bit more, we'll give you some free stash or something like that.
And what division are you entering in this year? Is it the Midlands Merit League?
Yeah, Midlands Merit League, yeah. Just because we weren't 100% sure we were going to be able to get a team every week. But we do have, or I certainly do, I don't know about you, Dave, we do have intentions to go into the Premier Division at some point.
Well, the Merit League's a good place to start, and in all interest, there's more teams in the Merit League.
It's mad that, isn't it?
Because I think the 4 teams in the Midlands Prem have been about now for quite a long time, haven't they? And there's teams dropping every now and then, but they don't I think they need a proper foundation really first. Like I say, you should have some interesting games in the Merit League.
Yeah.
Who are you looking forward to playing? Boston.
Looking forward to playing Boston.
I think Boston are the one, aren't they?
It's local
that's the
derby, isn't it?
local one, yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been going a while.
Yes,
A
they have.
good friend of mine coaches them, so.
Do you think because obviously there's some big RAF camps, around you. Do you think you'll attract players from that are perhaps stationed out there? And
Oh, we'll definitely get some players from the Air Force. Yeah, we've already some of them already come training.
Yeah.
But I know Boston also have some RA players play for them, because Coningsby's closer to Boston, Waddington is closer to Lincoln. So.
We also want to be careful as well that we're not like stepping into not like boundaries of each other, but we don't want to take players from Boston, because then there's no benefit to us, because it's
then you got no one to play.
Exactly,
have you? Yeah. So you almost want like an unofficial
border
dividing line, don't you? And
Yeah.
you stick to that side, we'll stick to this side.
And then again, you don't want to fill your, because obviously you've got big area contacts. You don't want to fill your team with area people either, because that would put civilians off. No, yeah, because we do talk and act different than other people. But I think that getting that nice mix is ideal.
If I was going to ask you about your coaching style, then, if there's, can I have sheep?
Yeah, they're moving the sheep. Yeah, don't fall asleep, will you?
If I was going to ask you about your coaching style, what sort of coach would you say you're most like, or what are you, an hands-on person? Are you sit back and assess tactics, or
more of a hands-on? He'll probably tell you more than me, really. I like to get involved. I'm not too much of a... I don't pussyfoot around a lot. I tell people how it is. But my basic thing is, I find you've got to coach to the level of the team. There's no point me trying to coach at Super League level to lads that have only just picked a rugby ball. You've got to coach at that level. And we were talking on the way down, I see a lot of people, they've got a team of lads that aren't very experienced, but they try to coach them up here. Well, they're never going to get to there.
Yeah.
They just, a lot of lads just want to play and enjoy themselves. So hence that's why a lot of my training sessions are getting the basics right. And he'll tell me why my pet is somebody, when you've got a play going and somebody passes the ball behind and they have to stop to catch it. That's where I throw me out on the floor.
I've seen many a water bottle get thrown at the time. Like,
You got a temper on him.
Yeah. Goes through about 20 water bottles a season, don't you?
Can imagine. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think a lot of clubs could do with a bit of that sometimes. It's interesting though. It must be quite tough. I know clubs I've played in like expansion clubs before, and you get a lot of union players, similar kind of thing, and I've been like you two playing for a long time, and if every week you go and you're just practicing the play of the ball, it doesn't stimulate those experienced players. How do you think you'll cope with that?
Well, this is why because I've got a couple of lads that are going to help me coach. That's why I intend to start a basic clinic in part of the training, and then they can come together. Because rugby league's a simple game. You've only got to know certain stuff.
Yeah, to be able to.
If you can
have a good crack,
markers, play the ball, a couple of plays, and you can play rugby.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We had an episode a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? With a couple of referees. I don't know if you saw that, and they were saying that they will allow things to go in the interest of having a free flowing game, and until it gets kind of out of hand or whatever, So I think that's the kind of, we just got to remember where the stage we're at, haven't we?
I think in the Midlands, we've got to realise what the sort of level of players that we've got playing, and we've got. In one team, you can vary from someone who's probably played Super League Academy level to someone who's picked up the ball for the first time and never played before.
Exactly.
That is what sort of...
At the minute, I've got a lad who's never played rugby league, only played rugby union once or twice, and they've got a lad that used to play for Coventry.
Yeah, it's big.
So that's
huge.
A massive...
Yeah.
And then everything in between.
Yeah.
And looking at the club, one thing we've had brought up a few times is teams survive a couple of years, clubs last for years. So have you got any sort of plan to bring a junior setup to the club at any point, or at this stage he's just focused on getting the seniors grounded and getting that going?
I think for me, I agree it's pretty important to have a junior setup as well, but it's finding the people to do it.
Yeah.
I think there's certain people who thrive in a junior environment based on the way they coach. And I think at the minute it's important for us to focus on the first team, get the foundations built, like you say, build a club, and then start progressing, like lowest level, just add an extra team each year. The problem for us is it's finding a facility to play out of, because Ruston's have only got one rugby pitch. The union club that I play for only started playing there, was it like back end of last season?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. So rugby's quite new to them still. So it's finding the space through the summer to actually get games on for juniors and stuff like that. But it definitely is in our plans 100%.
But we're quite lucky with the facilities at Ruston's. Like, we have a 4G pitch to train on.
Yeah.
Excellent clubhouse, good changing rooms. So you've got that bit to start with, right? So if it is muddy, wet, and we don't have to train on muddy, wet pitches, we can train on 4G pitch.
Yeah. So on the club theme as well, you know, are you developing like an identity as a club or an ethos, what it means to play for the Lions?
So I said to Dave, and obviously you did this with Lincoln Knights as well, didn't you? I was very much focused on making it not just somewhere you turn up and play rugby every day, but getting families involved and like saying, oh, if you bring your missus down, the club will pay for you to have a pint and stuff like that, and making little groups of fans really. Because it's not just about the lads who play on the pitch. Anyone can turn up and play a game of rugby with a basic level of players, but you need that support from your community as well. And I think the thing we're lucky with in Lincoln is that obviously Boston is the next closest club.
Yeah.
But it's 30 miles away from us. So we have such a big catchment area before you get to any other rugby league club.
So you got to look at that as a positive, haven't you, really?
Yeah, definitely.
If you can get your name out there,
yeah,
you've got a big area.
That's the hardest part, though, I think, like getting your name out there.
So how have you, apart from coming on this podcast to obviously show your brand...
To both our listeners.
Yeah.
How have you been tackling that then? What's your strategy to get the club name out there? I'm assuming social media is playing a big part of that.
Well, we've got a bloke who does social media, haven't we? Ryan. He's taking it over. Yeah.
He's doing a really good job, I think, as well. The thing is for us, because it's new to all of us, and obviously when Dave did Lincoln Knights, social media wasn't a thing then.
Yeah.
So I think social media is it's probably, when you see it, it's such an easy thing to get right, but I also think unless you know how to get it right, it's really hard to get it right.
Yeah.
And we're struggling to find that balance at the minute. Like, we launched our Facebook page about 2-3 weeks ago. I think we've got like 130 followers, something like that.
Yeah.
But we're struggling to, like, the first week was like, bloody hell, we've hit 100 already. And now it's really started to plateau, and it's like, how do you get that branding out to other places?
It is tough with social media because ultimately you're at the mercy of the algorithms, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not giving the algorithms what they want, and this is where it's tough. You know, we're trying to promote a game in an area, they don't want the game.
Yeah.
You know, so even the algorithm will be against us because there's not that many rugby league fans. You know, it will look at all different stuff and think, okay, if you're on the Super League page and you're watching NRL clips, all right, easy, I'll show the Lions stuff to them because they want that. If they're not there, it becomes really hard. And then then they want you to spend a bit of money and run some advertising and all that, and it's not always possible, is it?
What I've learnt from social media is even when you have a dip in traffic or a dip in people coming to you, you've still got to keep banging it out, haven't you? You've got to keep putting the content out there because you never know when that one person might pick it up and they'll share it with somebody else. So I think you've got to create a story, is what I would say, and you've got to do like player announcements and.
Because we do plan to do that, but because we're still a new club, it hasn't come round yet now. Yeah,
so you've got however many people at training, aren't you?
Yeah.
So the first thing I'd be doing is saying, right, this is one new player and this is another new player, and even if they're not 100% committed, just the fact that you're putting them out there on Facebook and advertising them to the world that they're one of your players, you're making them start to feel like they're part of your club.
Yeah.
I think that's quite important through social media. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's a tough one because, like, I don't know the sort of average age of your players, but I think some of them may not even be on Facebook, might they? You know, they might be on TikTok, Instagram, something else. You know, so it's just be consistent, I think, and you're right. Find the stories, and I think sometimes you get to the point where you're like, I don't know who's interested in this. I won't post it. Just post it.
Yeah.
You know, because at the very least we're interested. You know what I mean? We keep a tab of what
we've got a few
like.
lads from the university down last week. Hopefully they're going to go back and tell some more lads.
Yeah.
So that's another avenue we haven't explored yet, because I think the university have a rugby league team of their own, but obviously in summer they're generally Bombers-home, don't they?
Yeah.
But these 3 lads that come last week said
No, there's 4 of them, weren't there? 4 of them.
But 3 of them are going to stop. Three of them are going to stop over summer. So.
and it works the other way, though. You know, there'll be lads from Lincoln, Newark, you know, whatever. They might be in university in Leeds.
Somewhere else, yeah.
You know, and then they come back for the summer, you know. And if we can give them a little place to play, then, you know, it could work quite well. We used to get a couple of players used to come back from uni, didn't we? And play.
Yeah, over at Telford, there were, you'd have somebody turn up one week and they'd miss them for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they'd be back for summer. And I think I think my sort of advice is just keep being consistent with posting stuff out, and people will notice it eventually, and it sort of goes from there, really.
Could talk about who we're playing this season.
Yeah.
So we've got, I think, Leamington Royals is our first fixture at Rustons. So obviously we're trying to make that a big thing, because that'll be the first ever Lincolnshire Lions game, and it's the first ever game at Rustons.
So that's that first weekend in May, is it? No,
last weekend
in May. Yeah.
So is you putting some sort of campaign together to sort of draw up the interest for that one?
At some point we'll be doing, I'm realising now that every time you're saying about social media, I'm saying at some point, but really we need to start taking action on it, I suppose, don't we?
Yeah, we have got a good contact at Lincolnshire Live, the newspaper.
Yeah.
He's a big rugby league fan.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Well, I say rugby league is Bradford he supports.
Oh, right.
Not that much of a rugby league fan, is he?
It's almost a different game.
That's all right. Stick on the show, aren't they?
Well, you deserve it, mate. One day we're going to get someone from Featherstone standing.
Yeah.
Then you are in the shit.
Yeah. Or Wakefield.
Oh, that's it. Wakey, that's who you always slag off. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, suddenly, you know, we'll be in May, you know, and a lot of these campaigns just take time to kind of build up. So Leamington, I mean, they're a well-established team.
Yeah.
You know, no mugs. They kind of know what they're doing. You have
They have a massive squad, Leamington. Yeah. So they'll put a team out in Midlands Prem, and then you'll find that their development team is still really strong. And if I were going to give you any advice about social media, check theirs out, because they're really consistent with what they do. And I think that's what drives so many players to them, isn't it? They're brilliant at it. Who else are you playing then in the Midlands League?
Got Boston, Sherwood, Wolford.
Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Because obviously you played at Sherwood for a while. So, have you got your eye on that? And
I think it's more of a friendly relationship with Sherwood.
Yeah.
Like I've got, they kind of triggered that rugby league bug back just by having me down last year. It actually turned out because one of the lads at work started playing for him.
Yeah.
And
are you still in the RAF then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, "Oh, why don't you just come down for one training session?" I was like, "Oh, it's ages away."
Yeah.
I went for one, and that was it. Like I only ended up playing, I think, 2 or 3 games from last year. Obviously, with Hattie coming round and being born, but the bug, it just doesn't go away.
It's got you. Yeah. I know I'm faced with that itch now.
Yeah.
It's like
on me.
You're going again. You admitted it.
No, I'm going around again, I think. Yeah. So Adam, we had Adam on a couple of weeks ago. He sort of almost, I think he wanted to sort of mentor you almost, take you under his wing. Are you talking to him often, and is he giving you sort of pointers on how to get the club off the ground and going?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's been really helpful actually. He was actually he didn't have the idea. I'm not giving him that credit. The Lincolnshire thing came from Adam. Like obviously, I heard him talking about why they called themselves Sherwood last week, And it was him that actually gave us that idea to call ourselves Lincolnshire Lions. So I'm really grateful for Adam, actually. It's nice to have a mentor as such, like you say. I never really thought of it like that, but he has been really helpful. Like.
Yeah, and really experienced. If you haven't watched that episode, then go and listen to it. I really, really enjoyed it. We had a right laugh, didn't we, during that?
Yeah, he had such a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with the Midlands is we said this a few times. I think clubs, we've got to help each other out. Rivalries on the pitch, we said this a few times. Rivalries on the pitch, but off the pitch, we all need to be helping each other as clubs grow. Yeah. Otherwise, fixtures aren't going to be there, are they?
No. I think that's the point we're at the minute in the Midlands as well, is like just growing the whole game rather than us focusing on... Obviously, yes, focus on yourself as a club, but also you've got to bring other teams up with you.
Yeah, I think if we get, strong competition, good competition between like you and Boston, and, Boston always felt like they were just the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Now there's a club in between, you know what I mean, us and Boston, and it feels like it's pulling them together a little bit. So that'd be great. But you're right. We've got some questions here, rugby league related. Well, some are rugby league related, others aren't. Just some quick fire rounds just to get to know you a little bit more. You happy to go through this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to answer it within like pretty sharpish.
Oh, you got to be quick.
Yeah, you got to be quick. So I don't know who wants to go first. Who wants to go? If something springs to mind, then just say it first. We won't have a particular order. So first rugby league idol.
Oh, mine was John Atkinson.
John Atkinson.
Yeah.
That's a name I've not heard before. Who's that?
John Atkinson, the Leeds winger. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Used to go. Dad used to take me up to Headingley. He was my hero then.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I managed to play for him once when he was coaching at Carlisle. I played one trial game at Carlisle, then I realised it was too far.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Have you played for Carlisle?
No. No, never.
Yeah, for me it was a guy called Wayne Foster at my local club who played for the Open Age, and he was just brutal, like a proper nasty bastard. And I've kind of tried to mould myself in that sort of form, but he was just a different level.
Different level.
Yeah, he was a good player as well.
Yeah. Amazing. That's good. That's two names you didn't expect it. Normally, what are you laughing at? Oh.
He don't know who John Atkinson is.
I don't. Honestly, I don't.
First rugby team you played for?
New Age with All Blacks for me.
Well, Jiglington Juniors, West Bowling, Open Age.
Yeah. First childhood memory of playing rugby?
For me, it was a game against a team called Alton Raiders.
I
don't think it was my first chat, but it's the one that really sticks out. And it was basically between us and them for relegation. I think we were in the Yorkshire top league, and whoever won that game stayed up. And it was a physical game. And I remember it got a bit heated a few times.
How old was this?
Probably 13, 14. But I think the thing is,
that's the beauty of rugby league, isn't it? You're just 13-year-olds kicking shit out of each other, and it's acceptable.
I think that was the thing. It was like a weird thing thinking back to it. How accepted it was back then. I know a lot of the parents used to come just to watch us fight on a weekend. It's a bit bad, really, but proper rough team. We were always smaller than everyone else as well, so they kind of got picked on.
Yeah. Mine wasn't that good. For Driggling under 15s, we went to play one of the pit villages round near Castle. I forgot what they were called now. But we come out, and they come out with beards and everything. and put 100-odd points back up on us. So that was a bit of a baptism of fire.
I'm sure when I played West Bowling as a kid, there was a guy that used to have a beard. I'm sure there was.
I used to play against Alton Raiders, and I used to play against Ryan Hall.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Is that where he's from? Is it?
Yeah. It was. You could tell then he was a level above everybody else.
My earliest, I've shared this before, but my earliest memory of playing rugby league is I don't remember anything of the game. My mum said I just stood on the side, just shivering, just pathetic. But then I remember getting in the bath. It was the big team baths at the end, and it was
stinger.
Thermonuclear. You know what I mean? I thought my fucking skin was melting off. And that was I never went back. I didn't go back for years. But that was luckily that was rugby union. That was, and then I didn't bother. And then later on,
Yeah, but there was always the teams where they had a bath, but they didn't have hot water. So I remember playing at Clayton up on a bloody hill, and it was fucking snowing and sleeting, and it was absolutely caked in mud. It's like, right,
can you imagine them baths now?
10-year-old kid, right, getting this
Not a chance.
cold water bath now to get clean.
We
Not
had, we had a day like that at East Leeds, and I remember looking over at the sideline, and my mate was crying his eyes out, like in tears. It was snowing, it's freezing. His mum's like there trying to warm him up, and that.
Well,
And you've got a photo.
Greatland in Halifax. That's
Oh,
like that
yeah.
in summer, isn't it?
Yeah, Greatland. Played for Greatland as well. Well, I lived in Sorby Bridge, which is just...
Do you know that?
Elland? It was next door to Elland.
You did that thing, A to Z Rugby League, didn't you, that on Facebook? Yeah, getting people...
Yeah, it was all my teams. Okay, I had one more. Just when you're talking about thing, I remember it was like 15. I won't even mention who I was playing for.
Go on.
No, I'm not telling
Go
you.
on, who is it?
Ovenden, right? I didn't realise I'd played for so many.
You need 2 alphabets, I think. Not one.
Yeah, we're definitely posting this out.
I remember there was a lad there. I can't really. I know his name was Lee, but I can't remember his surname. And it was one of my like first or second games of rugby, and I remember him kicking this lad in the face and just completely knocking him out on the pitch. And I'm just looking at it like the fuck. I mean, the crowd was going nuts as you because we were kids. We were just kids. You know what I mean? But like you say, like nowadays, you'd be fucking locked up for that.
Yeah.
You know, not that it's right. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's right, but it did happen. Like, definitely a memory. Okay, here's one slightly outside rugby. First album that you ever had. Dave. That was a sharp intake of breath.
Mine was a Eminem curtain call.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Classic.
It might be now 1 for me.
No, is it?
-1.
Yeah. No, that's what I call supermarket music. What about yours?
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to throw this one at me. I think it was just something like bloody greatest hits of 95 or something like that.
95?
Yeah, I was born in 85, so...
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
I think...
Mine was the Top Gun soundtrack. That stopped you laughing, did it?
It's not bad, that.
That's
is
good.
It? Yeah,
It's good. Okay, last time you were starstruck. It's a tough one.
To do with rugby?
Well,
whatever. Anything.
Well, I'll talk about a rugby one. My brother played in a curtain raiser at Headingley once, and it was like when Leeds were shit hot, like Borough, Peacock, all the stars were there, and I just remember my brother going up to Rob Burrow and going, he must have been about 8 or 9, like everyone's getting their autograph and stuff like that.
What, Rob Burrow was 8 or 9?
No, my little brother was, and he just went, "Oi, Burrow, can I have your autograph?"
Because it's like they've only got one. They've only got a surname, innit? Yeah.
But they're about the same height then as well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Do you know what? I can't think of any, to be honest.
Dave thinks he's a superstar. So.
That's right. It's on a level.
No.
Last time I was starstruck.
No.
You know, last time we spoke to Brian Noble.
Oh, no, come on. Throw the full story in then if you're going to stay. Throw it out, go on then. You got the full story then. You've starstruck when you spoke to Brian Noble, and then what did you do with the footage?
I lost all the footage. Yeah, so Carl's still not forgiven me, like being a
I
Bradford
suppose
fan.
Ellery Hanley once stopped. I was waiting for a bus and he stopped and asked me if I wanted a lift.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell. That doesn't happen every day, does it?
I didn't know him. He just didn't stop and pick some random bus stop.
Okay, last TV series that you binge watched.
Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that's the zombie one.
Yeah,
this
the new
well,
HBO one. It's good.
Yeah, is it?
Real good, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've just watched The Unforgotten, I think.
Right.
I just watched all that.
These don't mean anything to me. What about you?
Sex Life.
What's that?
He saw it on Netflix and Mrs. watches.
Mine was Mandalorian. It's the only thing I've watched on telly for about 10 years, I think, other than rugby. Okay, the last photo you took on your phone, what was that of?
So my phone's broke. I ain't got a back camera at the minute, so it's probably a picture of myself.
What, the whole...
Everything. From the top.
That'll be something to do with my grandkids.
Oh, nice one.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
brilliant. Go on, you got to answer now, haven't you? There's a fucking camera in the way. Who's done that?
Last photo I took on my phone.
Cal, you wrote the question.
Pretending you don't know that.
Oh, it must have been that one I did with Kim Kardashian.
You know what? I'm going to have to get my phone out.
Mine was I took some pictures of people training at work. That was it. Boring. But I did get a bollocking for it. Because I weren't supposed to share the picture on social media, and I did.
Were they doing the cougar crawl or whatever it's called?
No, but they will be tomorrow.
They're going to be doing that for a warm-up
Yeah.
on Thursday.
I'll get a picture of Dave. I'll get a picture of Dave doing it.
The last photograph I took on my phone was of myself for our RFL
Oh, was it
ID
media
passes. Yeah.
Was it? Oh, nice. Okay, the weirdest thing you've eaten before a game.
Before a game.
Before a game.
I tell you what, I was playing for RAF Cosford once, and I had a kebab basically. It was not weird, obviously, but I wasn't even meant to be playing. I got roped into playing. I'd had about 4 pints and a kebab. I just ended up playing for some reason.
Did you play well?
Probably.
I think mine must be fish and chips. I think we played at this, I can't remember who it was, there was a well-renowned fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
And the whole team had fish and chips, and we did get beat, yeah.
Not quite answering the question, but I remember once getting to a Bradford Cup final, and we'd been to a couple of Bradford Cup finals, and we always seemed to lose. I think the nerves always got on top of us. This was when we were about sort of 14, 15. It were Whipsy against Dudley Hill. So my dad was the coach. He said, right, what we'll do this time to try and kick out the nerves, we'll all go for a big breakfast before the game. So we went out of this caff to have a breakfast like early morning. Game were like in the afternoon. But honestly, the forwards they were all buying these massive baps with like a full bloody English breakfast on. We played absolutely terrible.
No shit.
Everybody felt sick, overfaced themselves. Absolute disaster it was. Just terrible idea.
Who's the funniest teammate you've ever had?
Funniest teammate? Oh.
Well, for me, not so much teammate, he was the kit man, and that was Dave Mortimer, kit man for the RAF for years and years. Funniest man I've met, ex-Royal Marine.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he joined the RAF regiment.
Oh, right.
Funniest bloke I've ever met.
I think mine's got to be... he doesn't try to be funny, but Jordan Jolly. He's just so dense.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. From Wigan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not that marries up like... But,
Every team has one of those.
but yeah, he's just one.
Well, yeah, I've got to tell you my Wigan mate story. So we were watching Jurassic Park, and this lad he's a bit thick like, and he went, Craig, what animal do you think best resembles a dinosaur today? And I says, well, actually, I know a bit about this. I said, you'd have to say, well, a bird is the closest, but apart from that, you'd have to say like a shark or a croc. And he went, yep, good. And he says, and why do you think that is? Right? And I was like, okay, no. And I said, because they're apex predators. You know what I mean? They've never had to evolve. They're just perfect at what they do. And yes, and they've all got the ability to hide under rocks, right? And I was like, you fucking what? He goes, yeah, they were all hiding under rocks. I says, what? When evolution took place? He went, yeah. I said, Gaz.
I think he was hiding under a rock.
said, yeah. I said, how long do you think evolution took? And he went, a week?
He's just seen the videos of the geckos crawling out the ocean, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's like, he don't realise it's sped up over millions of years. Oh, God, he's funny. Right, okay, last one I've got on this list. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and how would you use it on the field?
Oh, on the field. Oh.
I never really thought about a superpower one.
What had you thought about?
Don't know.
Speed for me.
I suppose if you
Speed,
ever say, I would agree with you there. If it's to do with rugby,
something I never had. So
Speed.
yeah, I never had much speed. I was quick over 10 metres, and that were it.
Because they do say the best way to win a collision is to avoid it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you look at likes at Jive Field, Bevan French.
Yeah.
Just out of this world. Always seems to be a good few steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And And it's sheer speed, isn't it?
Yeah, his try last week was mint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
French's, where he just opened that gap up.
Yeah, well, it just unbelievable.
It's come from nowhere, doesn't it?
But I don't think many other players would have got through it, would they?
Nah.
You know. So so you're saying speed,
Yep. Strength.
strength.
Front row, innit? So.
Yeah. Dink him out of the way.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, speed for me. Yeah,
Oh, speed as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was you a winger, Dave? Was you?
I was. Yeah,
Yeah.
started as a winger. Yeah.
Yeah. So you must have had a fair bit of speed anyway, haven't you?
Yeah.
One slow.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I bet we didn't like him being tackled. That's for riding out on
There's
wing.
that one as well. Yeah.
So were you one of those?
I remember once we were playing Swinton at Keighley, and I broke through, and this prop was coming across. So I kicked it past him. He didn't bother stopping, did he? He put me in the advertising audience. And a good friend of mine who is at Wakefield, one of your favourite teams.
Yep.
He goes on a lot of rugby, and it says biggest fights you've ever seen. And somebody brought this one up when this young winger got put in there. Everybody was scrapping the bench.
Yeah.
And I remember it in the audience, getting up. And I looked up and they were all going out. I thought, I'm just going to stay down here for a bit longer.
Brilliant. It's only right that we just give you a little bit of a platform to appreciate and to mention some of the people that have played a part in getting the Lions off the ground. Karl and I are both going to keep an eye on what you get up to this season. If we can get to a game and see you play, then we definitely will. So who is it, either in the team, around the team, or helping out, that do you think deserves a little bit of a special mention?
So first and foremost, I mentioned him before, Tommy Jarvis. He's helped me put everything together. I think if it was just me on my own setting it up, it would have not failed, but it wouldn't be going as well as it is going now. And also Dave Carter as well. He's one of our other coaches. Between the three of us, we kind of managed most of it ourselves. And obviously Molly as well. Without him, we wouldn't have a coach. Well, we'd have Dave, but I thought Molly was pretty pivotal to what we wanted to achieve at the Lions, definitely. So them 3, 4.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So did you obviously knew each other before? Did you?
I knew him through the RAF because obviously
Yeah.
he plays for RAF and I coach the RAF. So,
Yeah.
so,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Just for anybody who's watching then who may be interested in playing rugby in Lincolnshire, where can they find the club and where do you train? And
Right, so we train at Rushton Sports and Social Club, which is on Lincoln Road.
Newark Road, isn't it?
Newark Road.
Yeah, Newark Road.
Road. Can't miss it. Big 4G pitch with floodlights anytime you're off bats. We train at the minute. We train on a Thursday, 7 till 8 on the 4G, but I think we're going to move to a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But just keep an eye on the Lions Facebook page for that, and that'll be kept updated to see where we are.
Is that the main channel you're kind of using? Is it Facebook?
So at the minute, obviously, we wanted to focus all our attention on one platform,
Yeah.
get that right, and then look at
That's a good
expanding in the future. But I think while we're mentioning where we're playing, it's worth saying thank you to Rustons for actually, because for them, rugby was like a new, as far as I'm aware, rugby was a new thing a couple of years ago. And without them, we probably wouldn't have a place to play, really, would we? To be honest.
No.
Were they quite welcoming with it? I mean, did you face any?
Very welcoming. Very
Yeah.
welcoming.
Did they see you as part of their commercial plan?
Oh,
Or?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we come on the back of the rugby union team moving there. They moved there
20, it was after COVID, wasn't it, I think?
2 or 3 years ago.
So it's brand new
And then
facilities.
they were really welcoming
Yeah.
for the rugby union. And obviously, we've moved on. And it is another sport.
Yeah, yeah.
That they can get more grants and things. Because I think it was generally just football, and they've got very nice tennis courts there. So,
Yeah.
There is some really nice facilities up there, actually. It's a good place. And it's got that nice vibe about it as well.
Okay, gents, look, it's been great chatting to you, and really, really do wish you all the best with the Lincolnshire Lions. Like I said, we're going to be watching out now, and and we'll be retweeting and sharing all the different stuff, especially the new kit when it gets released, and also the signing of your players and what have you. So good work, really, for what it means coming from us. Good work getting the team off the ground and having aspirations to get it going, which you clearly have. And we wish you all the best. Like,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly the same as I wish you the very best in this season. Regardless of what results you get on the pitch, I just hope that you get a strong number of players playing and you get a team out there every week and you just continue growing rugby league in the Midlands, which is what it's all about, isn't it? So, yeah, best of luck in the season and I'm hoping to catch up with you as you go on.
Yeah. Last thing, Lincoln's a mega night out as well, isn't it?
Yeah, if you want to come on. Dave knows a guy who owns a bar as well. So.
It's full of women, apparently.
Yeah.
Now, if you're new to the podcast, please consider subscribing and please share this episode and any others that you enjoy across the social media. And let's give rugby league a voice in the Midlands and help the game grow. So thanks for watching.
Thank you.
That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.